Hey everyone, let's talk about the new patch. But ain't nobody got time for 2-hour, 3-hour long videos explaining the patch, so I'm going to try and do it in like 5 minutes. Mostly big item changes in the world of ADC land, but there are some scraps for the rest of us, so if you don't play those roles, I don't know, maybe chill, I guess. But since I have this opportunity, I'm going to take a look and see what fresh Hell We League players are in store for. Now let's take a trip to ADC land and see what we got. So Kraken Slayer and Immortal Shield Bow are getting demoted. They're no longer good enough to be mythic items anymore. Riot said no and tossed those items right into the trash bin that I like to call situational items. But they missed for Shield Bow. Instead it just knocked Bloodthirster off the ADC counter. It lands straight into the Salty Splatoons where ADCs do not dare tread. Honestly, it could still be built on ADCs, I guess. Let's start with the biggest change. Our big boy Infinity Edge is now at the big boy Mythic table. Is this really a change? Most of the champions that build Shield Bow and Kraken Slayer also build Infinity Edge, so nah, it's not really that much of a change. However, they now have to select this as their mythic item. No more option of Gale Force for these champions unless you want to give up on that big Gahunga Infinity Edge damage. So you get to choose damage or mobility. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of experimenting going on, but if you look at some of the builds, they don't really change. You might move this into the second or third buy instead of the third or fourth buy just so you get that mythic spike earlier. So I'm just going to put these champions right in this pile right here. Next, we don't really have any changes for Gale Force, so if your champion built Gale Force as its primary item, then just stick with it. It's probably just going to stay that way. Now Rageblade. Rageblade made a change, and now it gives that hybrid damage baby 30 AD and 30 AP. It does give less attack speed in general, but it's basically back to how it was, and it also has this mythic passive of big AD and AP penetrating power. So now those hybrid damage deals are going to take a second look at this. If you were an ADC and you were building this, I don't think you're really going to stop building it. You're just going to possibly build it earlier, I guess? At this point, I think it's basically first buyable. Also, might jump back into being the main mythic item for Kayle or Jax because, you know, they've always built that item, and god damn is it going to be good on Kayle. Not really a huge deal for any of the ADCs, but Navori is now a mythic. So if you are an Infinity Edge champion and really rely on that item, then you can't build this anymore. Honestly, nothing changed in this item. None of the abilities changed. It just moved to mythic. So maybe like Gangplank will build it or something? I don't know. To me, it seems like Riot's just trying to give Navori a big old funeral, but hey, maybe I'm wrong. Now for the moment you've been waiting for. That's right, Static Shiv is back, baby! And some of us old League boomers are gonna just force this into every build that we can, just so that we get that Static Shiv feeling. This item gives 45 AD, 25% attack speed, and 20% crit chance. Not too shabby for a non-mythic item. This should be a good tool for pushing waves pretty quickly in the early game, so honestly, it's a pretty good first buy. And with items like Infinity Egg being mythic and for ADCs, seems good for those heavy push comps, so I'm guessing you'll see a lot of Sivir now. There were a bunch of slight modifications to other items, but that's basically all the big ones for ADC land, so let's see what us other plebs get to play with. There were also a couple changes to assassin items, so the ADCs get to play with their new fancy Thunderbolt. Youmuu's is replacing Prowler's Call as a mythic and basically gives you the active forever when you're outside of combat for like 4 seconds. How about that extra 40 movement speed when roaming? Yes please. Pair that with a little celerity or water walking. Mwah, chef's kiss. Mwah, beautiful mid roams. Honestly, Prowler's Call moving from mythic doesn't really decrease its power very much. You look at the other items that got changed in the patch, that got taken away from mythics, it's like boom! Ton of decrease in their items or their stats. For this one, it moved and literally like 5 off of all its base stat change instead of like 30 when you look at all the ADC items. So honestly, I think it just made it better. And also that passive, man. Oh, baby. Honestly, a lot of these abilities say they proc for a dash or a coming out of stealth. It should just say assassins always get this passive. Now let's discuss the Bloodthirster real quick. Honestly, Bloodthirster is kind of good for everyone now. It basically just gives you extra free attack damage when you're above 50% HP. Just imagine Rengar ults, running with his normal speed, boots, Relentless Hunter fully stacked, a fully stacked Youmuu's mythic, celerity, water walking, and a 60% movement buff. Ooh, that boy's fast as fuck, and then he's gonna jump out of nowhere and one-shot you. Now, there's one other new item, and that's for supports. Echoes of Helia. It's an AP, HP cooldown item, and when you damage enemies, you gain stacks, and then when you heal your ally, it deals bonus damage to an enemy around it. So basically, everyone now gets a Nami W, and that's basically it. So you should play it on, like, Nami, or like honestly any other enchanter who could probably take advantage. Anyone that can really heal anyone. So yeah. Oh, also, Varus got a skin, baby, for the first time in over a year. Great job, Riot. He doesn't have boobs, and you gave him a skin. I tip my hat to you. Maybe Mundo will get that skin eventually, though, right? Anyway, that's all I really had. Just some small adjustments on other items, but those are pretty minor, so if you want to take a look at it, just go to the patch notes. Honestly, most of the other items didn't change. If I did miss something, oh well. Talk to you later!